I have used many of the top digital sales platforms online, and I can assure you that ThriveCart and ThriveCart Learn are some of the best options out there. Honestly, especially if you're new to selling digital products, and I will explain why. I'm Jill Wise, and I offer fractional marketing direction and mentorship to clients around the world, which means that I've worked with countless personal brands in wellness, coaching, B2B, and so much more. So my review isn't just from my perspective as a longtime ThriveCart user, but also from the decade of experience that I have working with other digital businesses as well, and seeing in the back end of all of those. Really, that just means that I know what works, and I have seen ones that are costing too much money, they're too complicated to use, and they're just not fulfilling on their promises. This video is going to include an overview of some of my favorite ThriveCart features and why those matter for you, why I made the switch from other platforms like Thinkific and even Dubsado from selling my services over to ThriveCart instead, the differences between ThriveCart and ThriveCart Learn and why I recommend you use both if you're going to use one or the other, and some of the top reasons why I think that ThriveCart stands out compared to all of the other options out there, because I know it can be overwhelming, so we want to help you make a good decision for you and your business. So first, let's get into a little bit of context about why I switched from other platforms over to ThriveCart. My first digital product I actually sold on my Squarespace website, and it didn't really have any hosting. It was a link to a PDF that was delivered after they made a purchase through PayPal via my website, which was Squarespace at the time. In the beginning, I went with the simplest option because I wanted to validate that my product would actually sell. Once it was selling, then I decided it was time for something a little bit more robust, and I looked at all of the options that were available at the time. This was like 5 or 6 years ago, so I think I was comparing Teachable with Thinkific and maybe Podia, and I decided that Thinkific was going to be the best one for me because I liked that it was a Canadian company. However, if you are also a Canadian business owner or creator, then unfortunately, Thinkific didn't seem to have any built-in sales tax capabilities, which was really important for Canadian business owners. So I got set up on Thinkific. I really liked how it was hosted and how it appeared to clients and students. I'm really big on the customer experience, so that was important to me, and the platform seemed to have the best visual view and representation that way. So that's why I went with it. But then I realized that because they couldn't auto-calculate sales tax at the checkout based on location, then I ended up eating a lot of the sales tax that I needed to remit regardless of whether I was collecting it or not appropriately. So if you are a Canadian business owner or creator, then make sure you keep in mind that you need to choose a platform that will let you do that location-based sales tax. Otherwise, you're going to have to manually figure out where all of your customers are coming from and still remit the appropriate sales tax, regardless of whether you've collected it or not. All this to say that it wasn't long before I realized that Thinkific was not going to be a long-term solution for me. And then they started increasing the rates, which we all know is really frustrating when you're using a platform and suddenly the rates double. So that meant that not only was I eating the sales tax, but it was also going to cost me more to host on there. And the rates were actually going to climb as my business grew because they had changed the structure of it so that I was charged per enrollment. So we needed to find a new solution. And I went back to comparing all of the options. At this time, I was helping clients grow their digital product shops and courses as well, which meant that I got to see in the back end of a lot of the platforms and got to actually use it and test it without having to do that on my own. So that was amazing. I got to see what Kajabi and Teachable and Podio were actually like on the back end when we were using it. And I realized that none of them were quite doing the thing that we wanted them to do. Even ones that are selling themselves as an all-in-one solution, like Kajabi, I was really not happy with the all-in-one data analytics that were available with things like their email marketing on these platforms, because we need to have good data. If you are going to be selling digital products, one-to-many products, really anything online, you need that data, especially with your email marketing, so that you can set up automations and the correct segmentation so that you can properly target your potential customers and all of the leads that are coming onto your email list. So that's a little bit of a tangent about why I'm not happy with some of the all-in-one solutions, which led me to ThriveCart. When I decided that I didn't need an all-in-one solution for my email marketing or my CRM with my checkout and my course hosting, it made the decision so much easier because ThriveCart wasn't going to cost me a monthly fee. It did the location-based sales tax calculation, and I could have it host my sales funnels, upsells, downsells, all that kind of thing, which I'll get into more in a little bit. It had all those basics that I needed, and it integrated with my email marketing platform, which is ActiveCampaign, that I have used and loved for years. ActiveCampaign is really the top of the line, or the industry standard if you want to sell digital products. I always recommend it over other options, again, because of the analytics that are available and the automation aspect and all of that. So all of this kind of made ThriveCart a no-brainer for me because it would already connect with the platforms that I was using. So that's why I made the switch with my digital product shop. But more recently, I've even switched over my done for you client services, that kind of support, into ThriveCart and Learn as well. For years, I was a huge Dubsado fan. I loved Dubsado. I swore by it. I recommended it to everyone. Then I realized that the features of Dubsado hadn't really grown in the way that I needed them to and expected them to over the last 4 or 5 years. A lot of them stayed the same. Specifically, the scheduler was still in beta from the time that I first got started with Dubsado to when I canceled a few months ago, and that just didn't seem like it was right to me, especially when a lot of the features were available on these other tools that I was using. So the way that I use ThriveCart and Learn now to support my done for you clients and consulting clients is that we have the checkout set up in ThriveCart just like I would have had a Dubsado invoice, but this way it emails them their invoice and they're able to access them all on their own. And I use Learn as their own dashboard. So then that way I can give them any additional resources, access to those. And with the type of client work that I do, it's easy to set up a hub in Learn that they can all access as they need to, because there's a lot of resources that are similar or will be helpful for many of my clients. So it's anything that's general is hosted in Learn like that. And then if anything is specific to my client, customized to them, they have their own Slack channel and a Canvas set up in there that we can give them anything that is like specific to them. So now because I use ThriveCart and Learn Plus, I don't have the same annual fees like when I was using Thinkific and Dubsado and my email marketing and all of these other platforms that we all have to use. So it really decreased the cost of doing business, which if you are an entrepreneur, you know that you love things like that. Next, let's talk about some of my favorite features of ThriveCart. And I touched on a few of these, but I want to expand on them as well here so that you have a high level overview of what it is that you can expect when you make the switch, because I think that it's a really good fit for most people. So first, I find that it's really easy to use, and it has actually come a long way over the years, because when I first signed up for ThriveCart, I was definitely overwhelmed. And while yes, I'm a lot more techie now, at the time I had somebody help me set it up, and now I am so comfortable in there, especially with the new changes. That's just made it even easier. So you can set up products for all of your products that you offer. And for me, I have my digital products and also my done for you and consulting offers that are in there as their own products. And I have it set so that I have a default like format for the checkout, whether it is a single page checkout or an embedded checkout within a tripwire page, for example. And setting it up with these default variations makes it even easier to create new products in the future, because I know I can just duplicate one and add in the changes for the product in question. So that makes it really easy. It's also easy to add in upsells and downsells and create tripwires, like I mentioned, which if you're not doing anything with a tripwire yet and you have a digital product or a creator business, you need to have something like that, because it is so helpful to validate your customers and your leads that are coming in. I won't go down this tangent though. You can customize the design so it's on brand for anything that's timely. You can add a countdown timer that is a legitimate timer. At the end of the timer, it will actually take them to another page, which if you're using a timer, it needs to be a legitimate timer. It needs to be an actual end to this, none of this fake timer stuff. There's a location-based sales tax calculation at the checkout, which I mentioned, that is so helpful. The reporting is fairly good for anything to do with bookkeeping, which is also helpful, keeps bookkeepers happy, and it integrates with your email marketing platforms if that's what you're going to be using for your CRM, for example. And finally, the dashboard view to track your revenue and your recurring revenue and any subscriptions you have. All of those details have become a lot more clear and easy to understand with the recent changes. And one last thing is that I am a big data person. As a marketer, I think that you need to be data people. You need to know your numbers, and ThriveCart has made it really easy for you to see what things like your conversion rate for your checkouts are in your dashboard for specific products. So you have all those numbers right in front of you. Now let's move over to ThriveCart Learn. And this is one of the more recent additions to the platform in general. And I was so excited when this came out. I want to say a couple years ago now. And at the beginning, it was very bare bones, but it has come a long way. And honestly, while it is still no frills, I think that there's enough customization options and it has the basics of what you need in order for it to function well, that the fact that it's no frills is honestly better, because you're not paying for a bunch of features to host your digital products and courses that you don't really need. So at the time of filming this, there's no discussion or other like forum style features within Learn itself, but I don't mind that, because all of my clients that have access to me in Q&As are actually in my Slack channels. So I don't need that extra feature because that would mean there's redundancies between my tech tools, and I don't like that. I don't want repeated features across all of them. Just like ThriveCart Learn is really easy to set up, I've created a default format for all my digital products versus my courses versus my client hub. And then that way it's easy to just duplicate every time I'm making something new. And I know it's all going to be consistent. It's all in my brand colors. I can customize things this way. I haven't done a ton of work in making it look super pretty on the back end yet, but I have seen some really good inspiration of how you can make your student dashboard look really nice, and that's definitely on my list, which is why I think that the blank slate look of Learn Plus actually makes it so that you can create a really good customer experience that feels branded and feels like you, depending on how you decide to set it up. It's really easy to connect your checkouts. It's honestly just a one-click setup to have people enroll from your checkout into the corresponding course platform. And then there's all the things that you would expect from a course hosting platform, like being able to drip content and hold some back and set it up as you go and have it drip on like a set schedule versus on an individual schedule. So all of this to say that if you are brand new to selling digital products and you're looking for your first platform to set up, I think that ThriveCart and Learn Plus are great options for you to explore. And if you have been using the alternatives to sell your digital products and online courses and you're not quite happy with what that is like for you or the monthly fees of them, then I encourage you to check out ThriveCart as well, because maybe this solution would be a better fit for you. It's simple, it's easy, and I am so excited about all of the additions and how much they're focusing on making the platform even better in this year. It's so cool to see a platform grow like this and actually listen to the users to create things that we want to see from the tools that we're using. If you want to check it out for yourself, I will leave my link in the description below. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. If you are a digital product seller or a course creator and you want someone to help you and guide you through the process of optimizing your offers and refining your messaging and setting up your funnels or getting better at your marketing, then I encourage you to check out my website in the link below. I would love to learn about your business and what it is that you're working on and your goals. My website always has the most up-to-date ways that we can work together, so check that out. I also have a ton of free resources and other videos about this topic that you can go through if you are the DIY type. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.